Boy, I better start working on this sermon. Well, it's from Genesis chapter 18. It's about hospitality and Abraham. And it says, "And the Lord appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre, as Abraham sat at the door of his tent in that heat of the day. He lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men stood in front of him. And when Abraham saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the earth and said, 'My Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree, while I fetch a morsel of bread, that you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant.' And so they said to Abraham, 'Do as you have said.'" Hospitality. Abraham surely provided hospitality for these 3 men who were probably angels in disguise. How am I going to tell the congregation about this? What kind of an example could I use? I do have this story. It's about John Schauber, and the year goes back to 1857. It says in our history here, in 1859, just 2 years after our ancestors in the faith organized our church, they built their first building for a total of $3,000. Look at this. And it says, during this time, it was through the generous giving of the John Schauber family, who not only donated the land that we worship on today for $1, but he also contributed $800 towards the construction of the first English Lutheran Church building. The history says that the Schauber family were not considered wealthy people, and yet because of their commitment to this congregation, they helped them to get started. Boy, look at this. It also says that when the first pastor was called, Pastor Hill, that the Schauber family paid part of their salary and even invited them into their home to stay with them for that first part of the year. Boy, now that was hospitality. Well, I better get started here. Boy, Sunday's coming soon. Hospitality. Man. Tired. Guten Tag, meine Freunde. Was ist das?
I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Do you speak English by any chance?
English. Yeah.
Good.
I'm looking for First English Lutheran Church.
Found it. This is it.
This is it? It's much bigger than what I remember.
You've been very busy. Would you like to come in and take a look?
Oh, yeah.
It's so hot out. Come on in. Maybe I'll get you a drink of water.
Very good. Thank you.
Find a chair for you.
Danke.
Look around. Come right on in.
Danke, gut.
There's a nice cold glass of water.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you.
My pleasure. Come right on in. And you can see we're being
Wunderbar.
very busy around here lately. We're doing a lot of remodeling around here.
This is beautiful. Schönes. Just beautiful and so big.
It is.
This is your church.
It is.
This
and
is This is bigger than the building we first built that was known as First English Lutheran Church.
Really?
We built it in 1859. It cost $3,000 to build. And this is so much bigger and beautiful.
Well, it will be when it's done.
Oh, it is now. We just had a handful of people who helped us to build that first church.
Well, we have a lot of people around here right now that help do so many things with this church.
And things haven't changed, and I'm glad to hear that. We had a handful of people. I donated the land. Matter of fact, I donated it for $1.
Wow.
And I donated some money to help build the church. Of course, everybody chipped in. And then Pastor Hill was our first pastor. And for the first 6 months or so, he even stayed in our home because we had no place for him to live. And I even helped to pay some of his salary. Again, we all chipped in but who would have thought it would become like this?
Oh, it's become a wonderful church. We do so many activities in this church. We have a community meal every week here. We do a Kids Against Hunger program. We're there to help anytime anybody needs it. The church is so busy. Every week we give our space to activities like the Scouts and the Crisis Center. Different organizations always use our church.
Now, when you worship, do you still worship in German?
No, we don't.
Oh.
No, we don't.
Okay.
I'm not sure when that changed, but as long as I've been here, we speak English.
Well, we tried to make it change when we built the building. That's why we called it First English Lutheran Church, because the worship service, but I didn't know if it would stay. I'm glad to hear it stayed.
Yeah, it's all English now, but we worship. That's the important thing.
Very good.
Okay, come right on in.
Thank you.
Watch your head.
I'll watch my head. Yes. Yes. Look at this. Look at this. In memory of Mrs. Mary McMurray.
Is that somebody you know?
Yes, I knew Mary. And I also knew her son.
Wow.
They were very, very talented and giving people. Matter of fact, her son, Mr. McMurray, he worked in my goods store. And he was my apprentice. This is a long, long time ago.
It must have been.
I taught him a lot, and he was a good learner.
But the main thing is, it's still standing, isn't it?
It's still standing. And I wonder what happened to Mr. McMurray.
That I'm not sure.
By George, I've got it. I know what to preach on now. Great.